Hey everyone, Jerry here from LlamaIndex, and in this video we'll be giving a comprehensive overview of LlamaIndex v10, our biggest update to the framework to date, and a very big change, and we'll go over all the different components and explain why it makes LlamaIndex one of the leading data frameworks to help build your production LLM applications. So let's go through all the main aspects of LlamaIndex v10 and talk about how they work. The main change in llama-index v10 is a package refactor. We created a llama-index-core package that contains all the core abstractions and components of llama-index, and then separated out all our hundreds of integrations and templates into separate packages. And this includes everything from our LLMs, vector stores, data loaders, indexes, tools, and a lot of other things, along with all our pre-built templates, also called llama packs. And all of these are now versioned and tracked as separate packages. And so you have a core base from which you can use to build your LLM applications, your retrievers, your core indexes, some query engines, response synthesis modules. And then you can leverage all the integrations within our ecosystem by installing separate packages for each of these integrations. And we'll explain why in just a bit, but this really makes setting up your package management for your LLM application much more decoupled, cleaner, and less prone to breakage. The second update is that LlamaHub is now the central hub for all these integrations. And before, LlamaHub primarily was a hub for specifically data loaders, tools, as well as llama packs. Now it's a central hub for all our integrations, including LLMs, vector stores, embeddings. And our vision for LlamaHub is really to be a central community-driven ecosystem of all the connectors that you could possibly use to build any sort of LLM-powered application. The third component, and this is familiar to anyone who has used LlamaIndex in the past, is we had this construct called ServiceContext, and we deprecated it. It was clunky, it was a little bit opaque, people didn't really know what the default parameters were, and so we just got rid of it. And so we'll go through some code examples to show you how to pass in different types of arguments with this object now deprecated. So let's start with the package refactor, which is the biggest change and the reason the PR ended up being about 2 million lines long and over. The LlamaIndex ecosystem has had hundreds of integrations pop up over the past year. We are one of the leading frameworks for building production-grade RAG agents and a lot of other use cases. And our ecosystem has expanded to encompass over 150 plus data loaders, 35 plus agent tools, 50 plus llama pack templates for you to, as code examples for you to easily get started, 50 plus LLMs, 40 plus vector stores, 25 plus embeddings, and a lot more stuff. So the community has been one of the core foundations for LlamaIndex, and they contributed a lot of awesome tools that anyone using LlamaIndex can just go and use and plug into their application. But over time, as this has gotten very big, this presented some pain points. One is that all the integrations lacked proper tests. They were all factored into either the main package or the LlamaHub repo. And so anytime any one of these dependencies updated, you had to update the version of the entire package. So integration updates were packaged with the LlamaIndex package updates. Also, there weren't explicit dependencies specified for each of these integrations. And so what happens is you would try importing, say, Anthropic LLM, it would break because it would say that you don't have the Anthropic SDK installed, so then you have to go and manually install the dependencies. It just wasn't a very clean, nice experience, and also made it hard to update your code for fear of breaking other parts of your application. There was also the fact that LlamaHub contained a lot of these integrations, but also the core LlamaIndex repo contained the rest of these integrations, right? So LlamaHub had data loaders, tools, templates, and then LlamaIndex had vector stores, LLMs, embeddings, and more. So the main change we had, and this is really the biggest change, is we created llama-index-core, which lives within the llama-index repo, and this contains all the core abstractions in the library. And then the rest of the folders in the repo, for the rest of these folders, we created separate packages for all these integrations and llama packs. So this includes llama-index integrations, llama-index packs, llama-index legacy, llama-index experimental, llama-index fine-tuning. The main ones that you probably should know about are llama-index integrations and llama-index packs. And then all our code, the old code in 0.9 is now in llama-index legacy in case you still want to make use of it. So we'll take you through a tour of the folder structure and what these integrations and packs now look like under the core repo in just a bit. In the meantime, we also created a Notion registry of all these packs. And so this is linked in the slides, which will be in the comments. But this is a temporary Notion registry that contains all the integrations, or a good chunk of the integrations that we have, along with the Python packages, modules, classes, and PyPy packages. And we've now updated LlamaHub to actually include this information as well. So this registry is now a little bit redundant, but still a great resource if you still want to use it. Okay, so let's actually dive into the folder structure of the llama-index repo. So if we go into llama-index, and let's say we take a look at llama-index integrations, we are now going to see a lot of folders: agents, callbacks, embeddings, evaluations, extractors, graph stores, indices, LLMs. This is now the folder for all possible third-party integrations within llama-index. And the third-party integrations are just subclasses on top of any of the base classes that we have. And these subclasses are third-party backed. So let's take a look at data loaders, right, which formerly were under LlamaHub, but now they're readers under llama-index integrations. We go into readers and we see all 160 plus integrations within llama-index within the readers folder. So the data loaders include like Airtable to GraphQL to Microsoft OneDrive, SharePoint, Milvus. And the folder structure is pretty unique and actually conveys a lot about how do you actually use this integration. So let's say I want to use the Notion data loader, right? And I'll show you in a notebook example in just a bit, but let's take the Notion one right here. Let's zoom in. So this folder name corresponds to the package name. So if you want to use the Notion integration, you just have to pip install llama-index readers Notion right here. If we click into the folder, you'll see that there's a variety of different supporting files needed to packagify this folder. So this includes a README, which right now is blank, as well as a PyProject toml, right? And this is really a lightweight PyProject toml that allows you to packagify this integration. You can see there's some dependencies, which is mostly actually just llama-index-core. But for any of these packages, if you do have third-party dependencies, they can go in here. Let me go back really quick. So the next thing that you'll notice is that if you go into like the source files, you'll see that within this integration folder, you have some more nested folders: llama-index, readers, Notion. And if you click into this folder, llama-index, readers, Notion, you'll see the source file for this integration, base.py. Right, so this is the Notion page reader. Why do we do this? Like, why do we nest the source file under llama-index readers.notion? It's to actually preserve namespace imports, so that you'll see in just a bit when you actually pip install llama-index readers Notion. Then to use this integration, all you have to do is do from llama-index.readers.notion to actually use it. And so you don't have to basically import a separate package and try to figure out what that import module name is. We preserve the namespace of llama-index and the submodules. And then the experience is actually very, very similar to what it was like in previous versions. So it's very neat because basically you get all the benefits of having separate packaged integrations without having to learn the namespaces and module names of all of these, because you can just preserve the old structure. Right. And so we say this: the llama-index namespace is preserved during imports. Let's take a look at a brief usage example. So let's take a look at both LLMs, a reader integration, and also a llama pack. So for LLMs, let's say we want to install the Anthropic LLM. What you want to do is you want to pip install llama-index. So llama-index contains llama-index-core now, but also some kind of default packages And because a lot of our examples use OpenAI by default, we install a lot of the OpenAI integrations under this top level llama-index package. So we'll install that. You could also just do llama-index-core if you wanted to. And we'll also install llama-index LLMs Anthropic. This you can also find here, going back to integrations, LLMs. And then you can see here, this is the package name, which is also the folder name. So we install this, and we already have it. And then we go in, and then I'm going to zoom in just one more time. And then you see to import this module, you actually just do from llamaindex.llms.anthropic import Anthropic. Once you import this, then the usage is very similar to what we've had before. You just call it llm equal Anthropic, and you call it llm.complete. And so we'll just pass in this just to show you how this works. Right, and you're able to call Claude. The next example here is to use a data loader. So, we went over the Notion reader and we'll pip install it and clear outputs. And then you see to import the Notion page reader, we just do from llamaindex.readers.notion. And then to use the Notion reader, it's just very similar to what we had before. You just initialize Notion page reader with an integration token and load in the data. This is just a dummy page which contains the Paul Graham essay. And so if you see here, if you get content from the documents, this is just the What I Worked On essay by Paul Graham. Great. And then the last example I'll show in terms of usage is LlamaPacks. LlamaPacks is actually under a separate folder. And as a reminder, LlamaPacks is a rich source of templates for you to easily get started. And you can either run them out of the box, or you can directly download them and inspect the source code. And so here, we have all the LlamaPacks under LlamaIndex packs right here. And you can go in, take a look at the packs, and similarly to integrations, pip install them by their folder name. And if you click into, say, like any one of these packs, you'll also see like a PyProject, requirements, and also the source files. And of course, the source files also follow the folder structure so that you can preserve the namespace during imports. So by pip installing LlamaIndex pack sentence window retriever, this is a pack that demonstrates an advanced RAG technique of small to big retrieval. Then all you have to do is import it from LlamaIndex packs.sentence window retriever, import this pack, and then run it. And actually the documents are loaded in the example above. Great. And then if we print the response, you get back the answer. Okay. So in general, for these imports, there are some breaking changes compared to previous versions of LlamaIndex. The first thing to note is that if you want to use a core abstraction, you need to do llama-index.core. And so if you had previous imports, which were like llama-index.queryEngine, you just need to replace it with llama-index.core.queryEngine. And this is what allows us to put all the base abstractions under the core subpackage, and then every other integration under their own folders. So if you want to import a retriever query engine, which can take in a retriever, synthesize a response for it for your RAG query setup, you just have to do llama-index.core. For every other integration and module, the main thing you have to note is that you can't do from llama-index.llms import OpenAI now. You have to specifically specify the module name when you import the integration. This is just a function of how these folders are set up, because when we pip install the package, it'll pip install that specific like subfolder structure. And so if you want to use an LLM or vector store, just directly specify the submodule name along with the folder. Now, the other thing just to note is, we had LlamaHub as a package that is now deprecated. And so data loaders, tools, packs, everything under LlamaHub is now under LlamaIndex. And as we showed in integrations, they're all under folders. So all the data loaders are under readers now. And so if you want to use the Slack reader, it's no longer from LlamaHub.readers.slack.base. It's now from llamaindex.readers.slack. We have a full-on migration guide right here that we linked in the blog post as well as in the changelog. And this migration guide contains all the information you need if you're upgrading from an earlier LlamaIndex version. The one thing that I want to point out is that if there's a lot of LlamaIndex dependencies in your code base and you don't want to manually go in and try to change everything, we actually have an automatic script that you can run that will basically do some find and replace on the imports. So all you have to do is do a LlamaIndex CLI upgrade, and then either point it to a directory or do upgrade file and point it to a file. And it will just replace all the imports in that file to be compatible with v10. So give it a shot. A few users during the early preview have said that sometimes it's a little painful to change these, but hopefully this tool mitigates some of that. Great, and a closely related second point here is that due to the package refactor, we've expanded the concept of LlamaHub, where LlamaHub is now a site that has been revamped to include all the integrations and templates within LlamaIndex. The main goal here really is to just create the overall, just be the central place that contains all third-party community contributed stuff. And if you go on llamahub.ai, you'll see there's a lot more tabs. Everything is counted as an integration. This includes agents, callbacks, data loaders, embeddings, evaluation, all these different things. And I'm going to zoom in really quick. LlamaHub used to just be data loaders, tools, and Llama packs, and now we've expanded it to include all the integrations. If you go to all the data loaders, it's a very similar experience as before. We preserved all the data loaders from before. You click into one of these, you'll be able to see the README, the usage pattern. And of course, we also have a lot of new integrations, right? And you can see, for each of these integrations, there's certain download counts. There are, usage guides. And we don't have the READMEs added to a lot of these quite yet, but what we do have is a default snippet on showing how you can pip install everything, as well as import the module. So this is to help tide you over, and we're actually doing a call out to the community to help us contribute README. So if you're up for it, just let us know. Okay. And the last thing to call out here is that, we used to have the LlamaHub repo, which is here. And we made an announcement saying that this repo is now deprecated because all the integrations live in LlamaIndex now. Of course, LlamaHub as a concept and as a website still exists, but the repo itself, we're going to migrate everything over. The last thing I'll call out is that for anyone who's used LlamaIndex, we deprecated ServiceContext. So ServiceContext was this overall container object that contained LLMs, embeddings, parameters around text splitting, like chunk size, all these things. And it caused a bunch of headaches because one, it was laborious to import and use. Two, it was oftentimes confusing to figure out what stuff it actually contained. Because it also contained a lot of defaults that weren't really visible to the user to begin with. And in general, it was just kind of a pain. So we are deprecating it. None of the current core abstractions now actually require ServiceContext. In fact, we're going to remove ServiceContext in the near future. And in the meantime, all the default examples for using any of the LlamaIndex abstractions will not include ServiceContext. Instead, to actually pass in, for instance, like an LLM embedding to an index retriever or anything else, you can either do one of two things. You can either directly pass in these modules to any sort of higher level modules, or you can define global settings. So we have resources here to show you how to get started. And this is also in our notebook as well. And so this is in the second section of that notebook. So for deprecating ServiceContext, we are replacing it with some usage examples of showing how you can directly pass in these modules or define a global settings object. Again, we'll use a copy of the polygram essay. And actually here in this example, we'll show you how to do like the quick start tutorial of LlamaIndex using only local modules. And so using ollama for the LLMs as well as Hugging Face embeddings. So similar to before, we're going to pip install these integrations. Let's clear this. And now let's take a look at how do you directly pass in the modules. It really is pretty simple, but the quick start tutorial essentially looks like the following. You first load in these documents, the polygram essay. There's no change here. The second is you define the LLM and embedding model. There's also no change here. And then the third piece is you index the documents using vector store index from documents. And in the past, it might have been look something like this, service context, where you had to pass in the embedding model into the service context, like something like this. Right, and as you can see, this was a lot to write and also painful and kind of confusing to understand. So instead, all you have to do is pass in the embedding model into the indexing process. Let's run this. And then the next piece is that now your data is indexed, and then you want to query it. And so you get back a query engine. And again, instead of passing a service context, which contains like a bunch of different parameters, all you have to do is pass in the LLM into this query engine. And the LLM is Llama Mistral 7B. So let's run this. It takes a little bit of time because this is running locally on my MacBook, but you get back a response. Okay, and the second mode of doing this is just, there are certain settings that you might just want to set by default globally, because for a lot of things, you might not want to maintain a variable that you pass back and forth. So this could be, LLMs, if you have a global LLM you just want to use, if you have a global embedding model. A very relevant example here is like callbacks. So if you have like a global callback manager that you don't want multiple callbacks, all you have to do is define like callback manager equals callback manager, like that. In this example, this just shows how to set the embedding model and LLM onto this overall settings object. And all you have to do is from llama-index-core import settings. Just set these in the settings, right? And once you set these in the settings, then for basically any other submodule downstream, you basically don't need to actually define the relevant module. You basically just don't need to worry about specifying anything you already defined in the global defaults. And so if you run this and then run the query engine, you get back, you basically use ollama and Hugging Face embeddings because you defined it here, and you get back the same result. Great. Okay. So that's basically it. And so, a lot of this information is in our launch blog post, LlamaIndex v0.10, and it contains details about everything that we just talked about. Also contains information about, the migration guide and these things. And then very quickly, the last thing that I'll say is that because we've centralized everything into the LlamaIndex repo, now contributing an integration and pack is actually easier than before, right? It's easier to submit an integration and importantly, test the integration, to package it and define the dependencies that you want to specify. So it honestly just feels a lot less jank. And so we welcome contributions from anyone for any sort of integration pack template. And all you have to do if you want to create an integration is to go in to the repo, do cd llama-index packs or llama-index integrations, and through our cli command, you can actually just call llama-index cli new package packs and my new pack, or any one of the sub integrations that we have, and this will automatically spin up an empty package with a PyProject toml, README, and a blank directory structure. And you can just go in, add your source files, fill out the package, and submit it. And so basically, when you submit the PR, this will automatically get created as a new package that people can install. So it's a very neat process. We put a lot of time into making this very effortless for you. And so would highly encourage you to contribute anything. And of course, we're happy to feature you on our socials as well. So with that, that's basically it. And check out all the links in the blog post. The slides are also in the comments, and the notebook is also in the comments. So thanks, and see you next time.